Most of the residents where I worked were quite high dependency. So they were, I would imagine most of them were DNR anyway. Um, so the shielding involved basically that they were put in their bedrooms and then they didn't leave their bedrooms at all for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And no visitors. The only people who could go in obviously were staff, and we had full PPE. Now, I'm quite a cuddly person in my work, where I used to be. And so we weren't allowed to have any kind of physical contact with them. So they were completely deprived of visitors, friends. They weren't allowed to leave their rooms. And obviously, in terms of the staff, we would go in full PPE and not have time to engage with them. So they were in complete isolation. And I found that very, very disturbing immediately. Also, no doctors came. So from March the 23rd, we were flying blind. No GPs would come out at all. So there was something, we had a system called End of Life Pathway. And every morning before the shift started, we would discuss which resident was at what stage in their progression towards the end of their life. And what I found was that due to the regulations, the shielding regulations, people who weren't residents that we hadn't anticipated would be on end of life pathway, went downhill very fast because they were put in their rooms and that was it. And I was aware that this was, the equivalent of isolation in prison. So, it's a punishment, it's a torture tactic, and it's not something that you would want for an 88-year-old granny with dementia. So I found it very, very concerning immediately.